Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jose Olarte. I'm a community services coordinator for the Department of Child Support Services. I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time out of their day to join us for the Empowering Fathers series. We have our director, Marcus Mitchell, our speakers, Oriana Lopez, Mark Newman. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to my director, Marcus Mitchell. He wanted to say a few words. Go ahead, Marcus.
Good afternoon. So I just want to welcome you all to our Empowering Fathers series. We recognize that fathers are really important, and we know that we have the opportunity to help fathers have impactful relationships with their children, and we're working hard not to be a barrier in that area. So this series really is to empower you through the 4 workshops to really leverage your fatherhood skills and make sure that you have a great relationship with your child. I had a great relationship with my father, and I am a girl dad of 3 girls. So I have a great relationship with them, and I understand the power of fatherhood. So I'm really glad that you're have logged on for our series, and I hope that first one that really is talking about navigating the child support system is helpful for you as well as the others. So I'm not going to take up much of the time because I want the presenters to do what they need to do. So thanks again for being here, and know that we believe in you, we believe in fathers, and we are working hard to empower fathers and make sure that they have great relationships with their children, because you are important in your children's lives. So thank you, and enjoy the workshop series.
Thank you very much, Marcus, for that statement. And just to piggyback on what Marcus is saying, it's important for fathers to be involved, and we get the best possible outcomes when children have both parents involved in their lives. So we want to make sure that the children in our community have the best outcomes. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the presentation. I'm going to let Oriana and Mark introduce themselves, and they could go ahead and get started.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Oriana Lopez. I'm a Child Support Specialist 3 with the Ventura County Department of Child Support. I've been with the department for about 10 years now, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully provide you some more insight into what our program consists of and how it can best suit you.
Hi there. My name is Mark Newman, and I'm the Supervising Child Support Services Specialist here with the Ventura County Department of Child Support Services. I supervise the post-order and intergovernmental segments of our office, and I handle those cases. So I'm looking forward to sharing with you all the information and best practices and what to expect from the child support program. So with that, pass it on.
Thank you. So again, thank you for joining us today for Empowering Fathers presentation and navigating through the child support program. So let's get started with the most basic question. What is child support? Well, in very simple terms, child support is a court-ordered obligation for a parent to provide for the support of his or her minor child or children. A child support order normally is active until the child is 18 years. However, it can be extended if the child is still enrolled as a full-time high school student. So for example, let's say a child turns 18 in December of this year, but they won't graduate high school until June of 2024. Our department would first verify that this child is still enrolled as a full-time high school student. And if so, we would continue enforcing the order until they graduate in June of 2024. A few things that typically are included in a child support order are a monthly child support amount, a requirement to provide health insurance, parentage, and child care costs. Now, these are the most common items that go into a child support order. However, there are other items that can be included in an order, but we leave those to the discretion of the courts if a case reaches that point. So many times clients ask, well, what services does our department provide? Our services are open to both parents, whether you're the parent that would be paying support or the parent receiving support. Our services are also available to legal guardians and undocumented individuals as well. Both parents, again, can enroll in our program. The services that we provide include locating the other parent, establishing parentage, establishing and enforcing child and medical support orders, as well as spousal support orders, modifying child support orders, and collecting and dispersing child support payments. Locating the other parent is usually one of those things that a lot of clients will end up being deterred from enrolling in our program because they feel like they just don't have enough information about the other parents, so they don't know how they'd be able to receive our services. Our agency does partner with other government agencies and other locate partners that do assist us in doing some automated location services of the other parent. So many times, even if you don't have enough information on the other parent, that should not stop you from trying to enroll in our program. The other service we provide is establishing parentage. So establishing parentage meaning that at the time of the child's birth, either the parents were not married, or if they were married, the date of birth of the child was not within a certain limit of the marriage. So if parentage was not established, we can't assist with that. Further in the PowerPoint, we will go ahead and touch base a little bit more on the benefits of establishing parentage. And the other is establishing and enforcing child and medical support orders, as well as spousal support orders. So in some instances, we help in assist in establishing a child support order. In others, some participants already have an existing order. So for example, if a participant already has a child support order, and let's say it also includes spousal support, a participant can enroll in our program and we will assist them in the collection of those payments. We can also assist with collecting the spousal support as long as the child support remains active. Once the child support is no longer being enforced, then we would also stop enforcing the spousal support. And modifying child support orders. So again, some participants enroll in our program already with an existing child support order, but that order may no longer be appropriate. For example, if the parents now have additional children, or if the order that is currently active is no longer appropriate. We would assist through a service called a review and adjustment. A review and adjustment is a process where we collect updated income information, visitation information, expenses, things like childcare expenses, health insurance expenses, and we provide both parties 20 business days to complete and return those documents. Once received, we review the information and determine if a review of the order is appropriate. If so, we move on to the next steps of modifying the current order. And lastly, we assist with collect and dispersing child support payments. So in the collection of child support payments, the two main methods that we use to collect payments are through an income withholding order, which would be when an income withholding order is sent to the parent paying support's source of income or employer, and payments are deducted directly from their paycheck. The employer then sends the Department of Child Support the payments, and then we disperse it over to the parent receiving support. The other method is through voluntary payments. So this would be, for example, for a parent paying support who is self-employed, they obviously won't have a paycheck for the payments to be deducted from directly. So we would request that the parent paying support make their payments voluntarily. Again, further in the presentation, we will go over the various methods that we offer our parents paying support so that they have plenty of options that best suit them and their situation for their payments on the child support. And for the dispersing of the child support payments, we also offer various methods for our parents receiving support. The three main categories are through what's called an electronic payment card. That's essentially a debit card that can be used in any place that I believe takes major credit cards like MasterCard, and they're able to receive their payment through that method. The other is through direct deposit, and the last one is just through a check. So There are many items that our department does not assist with. However, we do provide referrals to community partners for the following: divorce, child custody, visitation, restraining orders, spousal support only orders, and employment services. We partner with agencies such as the Workforce Development Board of Ventura County, the Family Justice Center, the Ventura County Legal Aid, and of course, the Ventura County Superior Court. At the end of our slideshow of our presentation here, we will offer you some information about an upcoming presentation that we have next week that will focus on child custody issues. So we know what child support is now. And so you may be asking yourself, okay, I'm interested in opening a case. What are my different options in terms of how to enroll? So the first one, and probably one of the easiest ways, would be through our online simplified enrollment process. The second is a paper enrollment form. So that would be essentially a paper application. You can always call our toll-free number and request that one be mailed to you, or you're more than welcome to come into our office located in Camarillo to request a paper application. And another way that a case can be open is through a human services agency referral. So this would be when the parent receiving support is currently receiving cash assistance in the County of Ventura. When that occurs, the Human Services Agency sends the Department of Child Support a referral requesting that a case be opened between both parents to establish a child support order for the child or children. It should be mentioned that when you're opening a case, once your application is submitted to our department, we take up to 20 business days to process the application. But again, it can vary. Sometimes it takes a day, a week, but it will not take more than the 20 business days. I'm sorry, than the 20 calendar days. So as I mentioned previously, one of our easiest ways to enroll in our program is through the simplified enrollment process. Again, this is our online option. Some of the many benefits of this option are it definitely streamlines the enrollment process. It gives you a much more user-friendly version of the application. It's a much more faster enrollment process, and there is an online automated assistant that can assist you in the enrollment process. The simplified enrollment process is probably one of my favorite versions of our application because it really is a simplified version of it. When you go to enroll in our program and you use this method, it'll ask you for basic information about yourself, about the other person or parent, basic information about the child or children. It'll ask you about the court order history, and it'll ask you to confirm, sign, and submit. So again, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, many times participants may be deterred from enrolling in our program because they think they just don't have enough information to even enroll. But truly, through this simplified enrollment process, even if you just have basic information, that's sufficient to begin the enrollment process. Also, another big misconception that I get a lot from participants is when they enroll in our program, they think they already need to have an attorney or that they're required to have an attorney to have a child support case, and that is simply not true. It is an option that you have. You can absolutely request our services and have an attorney, but it's absolutely not necessary or required at least to be able to move forward with the case. So if you are interested in enrolling in our program, you can follow the website that's listed at the bottom of the page there, or simply scan the QR code. So one of the services that our department offers is legal parentage. Parentage is defined as the establishment of a legal relationship between a parent and a child. Parentage can be established by marital presumption, meaning the parents were married at the time that the dependent was born. Or for an unmarried parent, there are other options on how to establish parentage. The first is through the Voluntary Declaration of Parentage, or VDOP. So normally the Voluntary Declaration of Parentage is signed at the time of birth in the hospital, but that's not the only opportunity to fill one out. You also have the opportunity of completing one at our location here in Camarillo. Again, it's the Voluntary Declaration of Parentage, and it's a service that we offer here at no cost to you. The other option is the mutual agreement via stipulation. So a stipulation is essentially a legal court order without having to go to court. If both parents agree that they are the parents of the child, then we can assist with establishing that parentage through that stipulation. The other is by order after hearing or default judgment. So this would be when we've had to move forward with our summons and complaint or the lawsuit for child support and establishing the legal parentage. And the parent paying support has been served with that legal action or the summons and complaint. And if we need to get the order, it'll be an order after hearing or through a default judgment. And that would be when the parent paying support has been served with our legal action, but has not done anything to contest the parentage that we're trying to establish. And the last is through genetic testing. So I know right away, many people might think genetic testing is going to include blood draws and needles, but don't be afraid. We do not use blood work or needles to establish parentage through our department. We do offer the genetic testing by doing swabs of the inside of the mouth to collect saliva samples from the child and the parent that would be paying the support. This is a service, again, that we offer through our program. It is free. There is no cost to either parent. So again, if parentage needs to be established, those are the following options that we offer. Aside from wanting to obviously confirm the parentage between the parent and the child, there are many many reasons why parentage is encouraged and why it should be established. It does provide basic emotional, social, and economic ties between the parent and the child. But also, without establishing that parentage, the parent cannot establish custody and visitation. So that is definitely something that you would want to establish if you are seeking to build custody and visitation time with the child. And if parentage is not established between the parent and the child, it can also cause the child to lose out on their some of their rights and benefits, such as survivor benefits. Okay, and locating parents. So again, many times we have participants that may be interested in enrolling in our program, but they may just, be deterred because they don't feel they have enough information about the other parent. So our office does partner with various other government agencies as well as other locate partners that assist us in doing automated locate services around the clock. So even when we're not open, our systems are still trying to locate information about the other parent. There are certain things that will assist us in being able to find more information a little bit easier, such as the date of birth or approximate date of birth or age of the parent that would be paying supports, their social security number or ITIN number, their full name and or any aliases that they may have, and their employer or last known employer. Now, you might remember that through our online simplified enrollment process, I did mention that we only ask for basic information. So this is information that you may not have at the time of enrolling, but it doesn't mean that just once you enroll, there's no more communication. On the contrary, we encourage communication from both parents from the very beginning of the case throughout. It is extremely important, not just for the locate purpose of the case, but for the purpose of making sure that both parents are clear as to what's going on with their case, if they need assistance understanding anything about the program, that communication be very open between our department and the parents that we're serving or assisting in our case. And you may be saying, well, I work 8 to 5 and those are the hours that the office is open. How am I ever going to be able to get in contact with anybody or address my case? Don't worry. We can assist our customers either through phone calls. You can come into our office in Camarillo. We have the ability to text with our clients, email with our clients. We also offer this awesome service called DocuSign, which allows you to complete any of the documents that we need from you, even legal documents, completely from the comfort of wherever you are. We essentially just put in your email, we send you the documents, you're able to complete the documents completely electronically, don't have to print it out. You can just fill it out. When you're done, you click done and it comes right over to the assigned person that sent it out to you. So many times again, we have customers that are, really unsure if they'll be able to move forward with the process because they're afraid they may not be available to attend to the things that need to occur on the case. And then they find out that we have all these different opportunities and options for them to get in contact with us. That makes them, be available for what needs to be done on the case. We also have an awesome outreach team that goes out into the community on different days of the month to different cities within Ventura County. So if you can't make it all the way to Camarillo, we have a team that goes out again throughout the community throughout the month. And I know that at the end of the presentation, we will also provide you with that information. But I cannot stress enough how important it is for our customers to maintain that communication with us. I know myself as a child support specialist, I've been here 10 years, and even I myself find myself either, confused or trying to get some more information on a certain process. So we know, as child support professionals, we know the process can be a little intimidating, it can be confusing, and we want to make sure that you know that we're here to help you. We're here to help make this process as easy as possible and to provide you any clarification that you may need. I've had clients where we've had a conversation for 10-15 minutes and then they call me back as soon as we hang up and they go, you know what, that was just a ton of information and I missed one certain thing. Can you re-explain that to me? No problem. I would much rather our clients walk away understanding what's going on and feeling at least at ease about, this is what I know is going on in my case. And I know that I can easily communicate with my case manager or with one of the customer service representatives if needed. Again, I hope that for our parents that are here today, I hope this offered you some insight into our program. Again, we encourage you. The communication is key here, but we look forward to hopefully serving you in the future if we're not already, and hopefully we can provide you some more insight with our presentation today. That's all for me. I am going to go ahead and pass it on over to Mark.
What is an appropriate child support amount order? And that can get tricky because every case is different, every situation is different. And so what we ultimately do is, in order to get a monetary judgment, we do run a guideline calculation. And you may wonder, well, what is that exactly? It's really ultimately a very complex set of variables and calculation that puts together all of the various aspects of a case. And again, there's multiple variables. However, there are two in particular that have most impact, I should say, on the amount of the child support order and kind of giving us a launching point of where we want to go from here. And those two main things are the amount of a parent's income, as well as how much time do the parents have shared with custody between them. Now you'll see on the screen here that we have an example just put out, and just to make things simple, you can see there that both parents have the same amount of income that's listed, that $2,426. And you'll notice that if you calculate in the factor that perhaps maybe the parent who would pay the support doesn't have any time or shared custody with the dependent or dependents, it's possible that, well, and actually rightly so, maybe that just circumstances aren't allowing for it, but you want to factor that into the calculation. And what we do is when you run that, the visitation at 0% for the parent paying support and 100% for the parent receiving support, you can see that the total monthly proposed amount when we run the calculation is $512 a month for this child. Now, let's say circumstances change and you have more visitation. with your child. And you want that to make sure that that is incorporated into the calculation that's run and what we look at with regards to getting the order established. And you'll see to the right in this example provided that just by adding in 20% visitation, and roughly that essentially equates to basically weekends, alternating days, and then summertime visitation, run that all together, and it's about 20%. When you add that to the calculation, you can note that it actually drops the amount of proposed child support from the 512 down to 342. So right there, you can see, well, okay, that's $170 difference. But why is that? Well, it's because the parent who would be ordered to pay support is now sharing the responsibilities of caring for that child, expenses, clothing, things like that. And so, you want to make sure that that is incorporated into the calculation you come up with. Now, once we get that calculation run, we run what is known as a summons and complaint and proposed judgment. And that document is filed with the court. And when we run the guideline calculation, it is just a starting point to get the process of talking going between the parents. And so we file that with the courts, and the individual who would be ordered to pay support is served with the documents. Actually, both parties get a copy of them. And the individual has 30 days in order to respond to that initial pleading. And so when you look at that, you want to make, if you're the person that's received some of these paperwork, you want to make sure that you understand that you don't want to ignore these papers if you get them, or one day might get them, because this process doesn't go away. So you want to make sure that you stay in communication with us, because we want to hear from both sides, because we want to make sure that we get a right-sized order, and so we don't get anything inappropriate. So when that paperwork is received, it opens the dialogue, and we begin talking. And if the amount that is proposed in that judgment sounds good to both parties, then we move forward with trying to get an order, and we do that via a stipulation, basically that mutual agreement between the parties. And so we, without even need to go to the court, we can facilitate that agreement, and you wouldn't even have to necessarily even come to our office, because one of the tools that we utilize in order to help facilitate these agreements is DocuSign. You may have heard it, you may not have, but it's basically an electronic document exchange where you can view documents and sign them and return them. And so then we can take those documents and get that filed with the court, and the order can proceed, the case can proceed. Now, if it happens that, either one of the parties might disagree over one facet or another of the case, that you do have the right to request a court hearing. And we work with the parents on this to ensure that we get it on calendar as quickly as possible. And the one cool thing about this modern digital age is that all of our hearings now are actually heard via Zoom. So this very platform that you're watching this presentation today, we also utilize for our court hearings. And so it's a really useful tool, and it's made a world of difference to our customers, because now they don't have to spend their entire day over at the courts. They can, from the comfort of their own home, make their appearance, discuss with the commissioner the various aspects of the case, and provide any new information that might have come along that might be different, and want to have that considered before a judgment is made. Now, once that order is basically determined by the court through that hearing, then it's filed with the court, and we move forward with the case. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I think I heard him say something about don't ignore the paperwork. Well, why is that? Well, the reason why, when you get that initial paperwork, is that in instances, especially in instances where we're trying to establish parentage for the dependent children, it's really important that if for those parents who would be ordered to pay support, if they have any doubt in their mind that they are the father of this child or these children, we're really highly stressed that you contact us and communicate with us those concerns. So that way we can work with you to help get this genetic testing taken care of and scheduled for you, so we can ensure and settle without a shadow of a doubt, whether or not, you are that person is the father of the child. And so if you ignore that, then after the period of 30 days, if there's no response received, by law, that proposed judgment becomes an order. And so once that order is filed with the court, it sets that parental relationship, which is really difficult to overcome if, so a few years later, if, you just say, hey, wait, no. Well, again, maintain that open communication with us, so that way we can work with you and work out, if there's any concern regarding parentage. Now, once that order is established and you get it entered into our automated child support system, we go through the process of collecting on the support. And so we send out by most general, or actually most frequent way that we try to collect on that support is through an income withholding order. And that income withholding order goes out to any active employer that we have, and we are mandated by federal and state laws to ensure that when we have that active employer, we send that out, so that way we can get payments coming in. And because it really is one of the quickest and easiest ways to ensure child support payments come in timely and regularly, because the paperwork goes to the employer, they process it, and the money is deducted for child support and sent to our state disbursement unit without any need of either the employer having to send in a check or the employee having to send in a payment on their own, because it just automatically comes out of the check and it's done. Very quick and easy. Now, there are those parents who are ordered to pay support who may be self-employed. And you may be wondering, well, how does that work exactly? Because you can't necessarily send a income withholding order to them. So how does that work? And so what we do is we work with the parents to help ensure that they make their payments timely. And we have a number of options that are available to them. We have this really wonderful tool that we use is called Customer Connect. Customer Connect is a great resource because it allows the parties to log in, take a look at their case balance, how much is being charged, how much is being received and applied to their child support case. It allows them to enter in new information about themselves. So maybe you moved, and it allows you to update that. And the Customer Connect, you can do this 24/7. So you can do it on the weekends and send in an update. You have a new email address or a new employer that you want to report. You can do all that through Customer Connect. In fact, you can even has a link to make a payment online if you need to. For those self-employed parents, they can also even contact our office. Even those who aren't even self-employed, any parent who needs to pay support can even contact our office, and we will take a payment over the phone with them. And then, in situations where maybe there isn't an employer, payments can come in through a number of means. We have resources that allow us connections that we have with the state, with the federal government in ways such as unemployment benefits. So if the parent paying support is not employed, but they're receiving unemployment benefits, or maybe they're disabled and they have some state disability claim active, or maybe even with their Social Security benefits, it is possible that we can help ensure that payments can continue to come in, especially in the instance of maybe Social Security disability benefits, because with that disability claim, the children are entitled to a portion of the claim of the injured parent paying support. So we want to work with you and maintain an open communication so that we can work quickly to ensure that you don't fall behind in payments or anything like that. Now, talking about payments some more, I mentioned options that are out there. And as you can see here on this slide, we do have a whole host of them. And we have a kiosk in our office that you can come in and make payments at. There's also, you can make payments via MoneyGram, Pay Near Me. You can even do it via PayPal. Be mindful though that with some of these payment types, there might be some service fees that are associated, especially say like you try to pay with like a MasterCard or a Visa. But again, there's a lot of different options out there and ways that we can help you, the parents who are paying support, ensure that they get the money to the family and that they can get the support they need to thrive. You'll notice that we can also, through payment plans, you could even set up a direct debit from your bank account. Just plug it in, set it up, and it goes to our state disbursement unit and it gets applied. Or just send in a check or a money order via mail, and that would get processed and applied to the case as well. Now, for those parents who are receiving support, we do have some options, a few different options for them as well. And I want to share those with you today too, because one of the first thing on the item you see here is a direct deposit. And that is one of the easiest ways to help ensure that you get regular child support payments coming in. You just need a bank account and get that set up. You go on through the Customer Connect website through the state disbursement unit and set up the information so that way that anytime a payment comes in, it can go right out and get put into the bank account. And when we get payments, we process them as soon as possible, and that gets sent out. We also have what is this electronic payment card that you have the option to get any child support payments loaded onto it. So that way, and it can be used anywhere that the MasterCard is accepted. So it can be used like a debit card or a credit card. And so it allows, as you need, to be able to make purchases. And then the last way that you could receive child support payments is via a check. And now, again, there's no reason why checks can't come out, but it really is quicker and easier to get your payments and receive them by direct deposit or with this EPC card. But if it goes out in the mail, then that's fine too. Just be mindful that they do go out through the US mail. And so there is, it might take a few more days to get that payment than if you had a direct deposit or that EPC card. So just be mindful of that. Now, what happens if the parent paying support maybe misses a payment or, and what happens then? Well, the child support monthly obligation or the accrual that it happens on the case doesn't go away because it went unpaid. It accumulates as a past due balance. And what we do is we work with the parents and again, maintain that open communication with us because it's really vital to help ensure that, we get things squared away as quickly as possible. If circumstances change, we want to hear it. But if for those, if money, is tight, they're not able to make a payment or whatever, just be mindful that any obligation that accrues each month is also going to add up in past due balances and can accrue interest. So it's better to stay on top of your payments. If not, then you're susceptible to some enforcement remedies that we have. And those, as you can see on the screen, are just a few of them, but some of the more prevalent ones that happen often, things like driver's license suspension or maybe occupational license. So the occupational license being like, say, contractor's license or security guard card or a hairdresser, cosmetologist license, realtor, doctors, teaching credentials, things like that. If payments aren't made, these types of certifications and licenses can be affected. Because we want to, again, help ensure the families are taken care of. We want to make sure that those payments come in on a regular basis. Another enforcement tool that we have is a bank levy. That bank levy would then, we would send a request over to any bank that may belong to the person paying support, and money can come out of that and be applied to the child support past due balance. Another way that we can help encourage payments is through the means of the passport denial program. And basically, in a nutshell, what that means is that if you have a passport and you wanted to make travel plans or arrangements, maybe go some way outside of the country for vacation or business, be mindful that if child support payments don't come in, it is important to know that the passport could be affected as well. And so if you try to add a visa or Canada passport, it can, you might be excluded from being able to do that until you take care of things with regards to getting payments coming in. Another way that we have to help collect on payments are through state and federal tax returns. So if the individual, the parent paying support, files their taxes and is due a refund, the money from that refund can be intercepted and applied to the child support past due balances in the case. So that way we can help, bring them current. And then lastly, real property liens. So if the individual happens to own a home or some property, other property or land, again, actual like real physical, real estate property, there's a lien would be filed. And so if they try to refinance or make a purchase, something like that, it may, slow things down with regards to trying to get that taken care of. And they would have to contact our office to help resolve that. And so if it comes, as we're talking with the parents paying support, and we become aware of the fact that perhaps they're out of work, we have some excellent community partners who we network with who can really help parents paying with support to basically, seek work again. We have an awesome partnership with America's Job Centers, as well as Goodwill and some other partners who basically help you walk you through the process of finding work. Excellent resource. So, they can get you a resume set up or anything else, and just basically steer you in the right direction to help you, obtain employment again. So really useful. And then ultimately we take a look at the child support order and see, is it really still appropriate, based on when it was last filed with the court? Sometimes it's not. Circumstances certainly change. And so again, we really encourage the parents to stay in communication with us, because we want to work with them as much as possible. If the order needs to be looked at for change, a modification, we want to take those steps in order to be able to do that. So if a parent paying support, circumstances change in their life and they would like to have the child support order taken a look at, you can see here on this slide that there are three kind of big ones that really can affect the circumstances of a case. And that being, there's been a change in custody or visitation, or maybe their income has changed. So, maybe they're unable to work as many hours as they once were, or they've lost their job. An excellent reason to reach out to us and work with us to have this order taken a look at. Also, if the parent paying support happens to become incarcerated, naturally they're not going to be able to pay on their child support responsibility. So we really want to make sure that they reach out to us, so that way we can take the order to court, or at least review it here in the office and try it through stipulation, maybe try to get that order adjusted. Now, important thing to remember is, if you request the order be taken a look at to get modified, you need to make sure that you remember that your responsibility to pay on the child support that is currently ordered does not go away. It doesn't get suspended. So you want to make sure that you make those payments regularly, so that way you're not, submitted to some of these enforcement remedies that I spoke about earlier. So really critical. Make sure you take a look at that. Okay, stay in communication with us. So if it happens that for those parents paying support who owe some money to the state of California, by that I mean if the parent receiving support and the children are on public assistance, and the past due balance may have accrued, we can work with the parent paying support through this debt reduction program, as you see on the slide here, basically it's a state program that allows you to have some or all of the government owed past due obligation waived. So if an amount that needs to be repaid to the state, through that program, you can apply and provide your information, and we work with you through the process to see if it's possible for that to happen. And sometimes you have a couple different ways in order to help that work out. And as you can see there, the parent can basically make an offer to reduce the debt by paying an amount that is less than what is actually owed. So say I have $10,000 and I owe 50,000, would you accept that? That is possible. That it's possible that you can make such a offer and to help, get out from under some of that past due obligation. The other thing that you've got here is that if the amount is, say, okay, I can pay the total amount that's owed to the government, in past due, but child support payments, but I can't pay it all right now. Is there a way we can make a payment arrangement, pay so much a month towards that, so that way we can reduce that balance? This is a really, really helpful program to help people get out from underneath this debt and get back on their feet. And so it's really important, really, really critical that if you feel like you qualify for that, to take a look at that, talk with us, contact us and say, hey, is this an option for me? Can I get this and enroll in that and find out whether or not I qualify? So again, don't be afraid to reach out to us. We're here to help. So let's see. I think with that brings me to the end of my part of it. And I'm going to hand it over to Jose, who's going to share with you some information on how to reach us.
Thank you very much, Mark, and thank you, Oriana, for that great presentation, good information being shared. I'm going to go ahead and let you know how you could contact us. You could call us by phone at 866-901-3212. You could also send us text messages at 805-316-6272. You could also send us emails at dcss.outreach@ventura.org. You could also visit us at our website at ventura.org/child-support-services. And you could visit us at our office, which is located at 5171 Verdugo Way in Camarillo, California, 93012. The community relations team is also out in the community. We're at your local library. We're also at human services agencies throughout the county. Go ahead and reach out to us. Instead of going to Camarillo, you could go out here to these locations and we'll be able to assist you.